my goodness gracious, scorekeepers, hello. It is time for another episode of The Score. This is the podcast where we look at the arts and culture through our queer black lenses. As always, I'm your co-host, Rocky Jones, and I'm here with my two fabulous co-hosts who I wish we were all vampires so we could live forever. The delightful, the lovely Paige Reynolds. Hello, Paige. How are you? Moisturized as always.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I stay shea buttered down.
Yes, yes. Don't really have to in this disgusting weather that we've been dealing with here in Minnesota.
Honey,
Have to. It doesn't know what it wants to do.
It's
But you know what?
a
It's
lot.
better than a drought. It's better than a
Yes,
drought.
I suppose.
So I'm not gonna complain about the rain. I'm not.
I suppose. I was at the gym yesterday, or was it Wednesday? And it was flooding.
Oh,
It was a
oh,
lot. It
fun.
was a lot. It was a lot.
I mean, it
my
does feel like
goodness.
just a little homophobic coming at the end of Pride Month and during the Pride Week festivities. So, yeah.
But what comes at the end of the rain of a deluge? A
Aww.
rainbow.
Aww, okay.
And of course, that other voice you hear is what would we do without the brilliant and the beautiful Dr. Lee Bynum. Hello, Dr. Lee Bynum. Hello. And of course, Moisturize as well.
Hello, South Korea.
Hi, South Korea.
Hey.
You got
Yes, keeping
soul.
me afloat with well, they've been keeping me afloat this summer with all of their fantastic reality television.
Hmm.
So I feel like I should give a good old what's up to our brethren and sistren and such over yonder.
Now, what have you been watching? What shows?
The Devil's Plan has been,
I've heard of that.
it is, it's so interesting because I didn't used to like that kind of reality show. Like these kind of social, machinations kind of a thing. But Damien watches a lot of them. And he watched the first season of that and he was like, "Oh, this is actually really good. You kind of might be into this." And I really liked it. Like it's people using their brains to like solve very interesting um weird kind of like academic puzzles. A lot of them are very mathy, but then there's also a certain amount of, getting people on your side and, building secret alliances and alliances on top of alliances. And after Mistress Isabel Brooks made me so mad a few weeks
Hmm.
ago, I felt like I needed to like, find me a way to balance some of that. So like, yeah, thank you. Thank you, South Korea. And it has me interested in possibly watching that show with Simu Liu and Kim and Cynthia because it looks like some
I
foolishness.
I have to admit I watched that. And in
I'm
fact,
shocked. Like this mess has Rocky Jones written all over it when I saw the trailer.
well, speaking of okay, I'm just gonna admit that I've been secretly cheating on you all again. And and two of my best friends, we have been mulling over the idea of doing a podcast about like the stupidest bottom of the barrel reality shows. And so we recorded two episodes. We haven't released them yet, but that was our that was our subject. Got to get out. And of course, my friend Melina is like Cheryl Lee Ralph on Abbott Elementary. She can't remember the name of anything, so she got to get out of the mansion escape from the house.
Well, I will make sure I tune in because I will likely be giving in and just watching it this weekend. Probably going to binge it because I don't know if I want to give too many days of my life to that mess,
Yeah,
but it looks like it's going to be a thing to watch.
I
So,
don't think it's as intelligent as you're hoping. It's certainly not a devil's plan type situation. Kim Zolciak is not solving academic puzzles.
but is she still a low down dirty monkey with a wig on? That's
Yes.
what I want to know. Okay, well
Okay.
then I'll be
Yes.
there.
Yes, absolutely. You know what you do need to get into though, and I have resisted it for years, and I finally bit the bullet and I'm fully addicted. I need to go to Love Island Anonymous because
Oh
it
no.
is
Mm-mm.
it's so good. It's like a daily like dose of crack. I swear to God. I don't know what they put in the Love Island, but I can't stop. I can't stop. And then when I'm done, I have to go online and I have to read the tweets and I have to watch the TikToks.
Oh my God, you do need to go to some kind of
No.
12, 14, 18 step program to get you out of
Yeah.
this.
It's so good. It is like it's like a soap opera because it's every day, and I'm like because I would be like, who has the time to watch this every me? I will make the time. And it's like this one's kissing that one, and then that one's kissing this one, and then this one leaves that one for the other one, and all the twists and turns, and the people getting eliminated, and like. Oh, and I have so much to say about all the people. But they actually cast black people from different walks of life and
Hmm.
actually
Okay.
developed the characters.
Huh.
And there's a huge, and part of the reason that I love all of the memes and the tweets and whatnot is because it seems as though that the fan base is mostly black. And so
Mm.
people are just on Twitter and TikTok and all these places just cutting the fuck up, and I'm just laughing and getting my life. It's so funny and so infuriating at the same time, but also there's an element of it that it feels like a real life version of The Sims because we as America can like vote on things like these two people get together, kiss.
Oh
You two
no.
have to break up now. We don't
Well, this is
like
why
you.
it's
You break
addictive.
up.
This is why you're giving
Yes.
us all
Yes.
all the reasons why. Daily? Like
Daily.
it's daily and you
It's
can
all my
interact.
children.
You can,
Yes.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
So
it's
let me ask
crazy.
y'all this, because my friend who is, a cishet white man
Mm.
made a recommendation of a show to watch. And then when I saw what the show was, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this recommendation coming from
Mm.
you. It was called something like Ultimatum Queer or something. It's
Oh
about a
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've
yeah.
heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
I've watched that.
Did you watch
I
I
was
it?
have not
curious,
watched.
Paige, if you had seen that before.
I watched the first season. I haven't got to the second season yet, but apparently it's out now.
Hmm.
I am just waiting for my time to binge it. But you know what? Someone from even though I love the mess and I love the particular brand
Mhm.
of queer mess. But of course, it also reminds you, it can be the ultimatum queer love, and yet we are still in a heteronormative society.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, one of the
Yeah.
cast members from season one, who was a lot of people's favorites, one because they're fine, so fine, was the finest one on there. Like, yeah, absolutely. I'm one of the people who has that crush, but I saw a tweet or something of theirs that I think was a response to season two, and they were like, this is should like really be called like the ultimatum heteronormative gay love.
Oh.
Oh, how does that work?
I mean, well, that's what it gives. It's like there's only one main type of like couple dynamic represented, and it's very it is very like lesbian focused, or it seems like it,
Hmm.
which is still like could just be its own thing.
Yeah.
But and there's probably like a spectrum of like how people identify gender wise and sexuality wise actually present on the show, but like they didn't get into those nuances very
Mm,
much.
Huh.
Like even
mm,
in the first season, there were um a couple people who you were like, is this person like actually trans mask and like we're acting like everyone here is a woman, or like
Hmm.
we're
Hmm.
maybe ignoring that this person may have said like they prefer like they them or he him pronouns. Like it was interesting to see that dynamic, and like it's very much like masc and femme
Hmm.
partners.
Hmm.
I don't,
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong about season two, but from the responses, I'm probably not. Like, there's no like, relationships with it's two like more masculine presenting people, or yeah, they don't again get into the nuances of gender identity. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
shocked.
What?
right. Also, why was the host a straight cis woman?
That was one of the
Straight
questions
cis white
I
woman.
had about
Just
it, right? Because I was like, it, because I'm not super familiar with that actress, but like I've seen her in things before and was kind of thinking, huh, is she queer? And I don't know it. And I went to Google and Google was like, no, baby, they're over here just
And they couldn't
hiring
have chose her for
whoever.
her personality. She brought nothing. Nothing.
I guess I can say this because here we are wrapping up the month of June.
Mm.
Um, the number of times a person can be standing in front of you and introduce themselves with their pronouns and clearly be representing participation on the spectrum of gender in a place that is not perhaps clearly I am identifying as male or female, and people still walk right past all of these indicators, including the verbal ones. Sometimes I'll have my pen on that says they, them, because I realize there's power in words, right? And people still will just pretend just like they don't understand it, they don't see it, they don't believe it. It means nothing to them. It's a really interesting thing. But I will say this because I had a very nice moment at work a few days ago. We were doing a panel on gender equity. Um, and the preponderance of the folks on the panel all identified with they them. So I felt like I was in a very comfortable space. And I was just talking about how it was the first day in like 2 weeks that I'd had on pants. And one of the panelists turned to me and said, you should have just worn a dress today. And it was just the most normal thing in the world. And I thought, oh, have I made a good professional decision for once in my life? It felt really nice.
I
Aw.
love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Because Lord
It's
knows I've
just,
made some clunkers.
Well.
well, haven't we
Haven't we
all?
all?
I made some of the same clunkers at the same time. It's been interesting.
It is interesting because, Love Island is probably at the moment the most heteronormative place on Earth. Um, but yeah, no, there are two women, one who expressly um, identifies as bisexual, and another one who has said, I have dated men, I've dated women, I don't want to put a label on myself. If I had to choose, I guess it'd probably be some sort of pansexual, but I don't really want to go there. And there's what they were playing a game or whatever, and the two of them came together and talked about how they were attracted to each other and they kissed each other. And then that was it. They're not allowed to couple up with each other. They're not allowed to say F these.
Why?
I
Oh,
guess it's just
wow.
the game. I don't know. I mean, obviously because, heteronormative, cishet, all that business. But yeah, no, I'm just like, and I'm just like, why can't Sierra and Shelley get together? Let them get together. But they're now both in relationships with totally unsuitable men. One's a hoe and one's a mean ass little short person who thinks he's a cult leader.
Oh no.
I won't get on my soapbox here, but a lot of friends of mine know that I've had this long-standing um, refusal to watch romantic
Yes, we've
reality shows.
we've
Yeah,
chatted about this. You and I have chatted about
yeah, and it's
this.
mainly because I feel like at any minute now, the Supreme Court can issue a ruling that says, same-sex people are not only not legally allowed to be married, but they could also at any point say, you know, same-sex people aren't a real thing anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Hmm.
there's just this very weird way that everything about our experiences has been politicized. And then when I have to sit through some of the ideas around, the court at any moment could like overturn my marriage, but we are completely fine with straight people doing married at first sight and
Hmm.
all of these crazy ass shows that it's like I don't want to hear a word from any of you about the value of marriage and what my marriage means for the sanctity of yours when y'all are completely fine with every kind of tomfoolery happening on TV. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I am not interested in that. I don't even know who I'm talking to right now. Probably nobody in our audience, but I just remembered I was mad about it. So I wanted to get that off my chest.
And you have every right to be mad about it. I just think, quite frankly, I just think it's funny. I mean, I
Exactly.
feel the same way, but I think
Exactly.
I look at it, maybe it's just the Sagittarian in me, but I find the comedy in it like really, really you're talking about the sanctity of my boring ass marriage, my boring ass regular ass marriage. And meanwhile, you have these people on The Bachelor getting
Right.
engaged, not knowing each other for 6 weeks or
Mhm.
whatever the shooting schedule is. Like to me, it's just hilarious. And then, because none of these relationships ever work out. And so then
Ever.
it's just
Mm-mm.
like, oh my God, I can't believe I've known you for 3 hours and you're the love of my life and let's get married. And then like just watching it just explode.
Just
And
crumble.
it's just like, see, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
I almost watch it like it's satire or like,
Hmm.
everyone is
Hmm.
just a caricature of of that annoying heteronormative idea of relationship and like the fake sanctity. Like I watch it and laugh. It's almost like a way of punching up.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
precisely. That's
Yeah. I was just
precisely it.
it delights me to see just cis heteronormative culture just show its ass like that. Like I love it.
And on Love Island, that's literal.
A lot of the time it'd be literal. Yeah. I forgot about that show I was watching where it was like, I forget the name of it, but people have to basically like try to not hook up with each other.
Oh,
And they like lose money there's like a big pot of money
What?
too
and like
hot to
every time
handle.
that one too hot to
Hmm.
handle. So like kissing someone gets some money taken out of the pot for everybody. And so
Interesting.
it's the whole premise, like it's a bunch of really hot people and they have to try not to stick their tongue down each other's throat and hook up at night when everybody else is gonna sleep and they be pushing it. They be, sleeping in the same bed and cuddling and all that
Wearing
and
bikinis all day
wake
on
up
the
in the morning and it's
beach. And
like the team has suddenly lost $50,000 and everyone's like, oh,
who did
right?
it?
Yet another celebration of poor impulse control.
That's it. That's the one.
Yep, yep.
Well, switching gears slightly,
But only slightly.
still in the realm of reality TV. In our production meeting last week, Lee, you expressed a desire to express some feelings about the current season of RuPaul's Drag Race All
Oh
Stars.
yeah, I forgot I was. Yeah,
Mm.
thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
really, really in my feelings about this, and
Yes.
I'll just try to make it just super direct because part of why I like RuPaul's Drag Race is it's the artistry, right? Like there's
Hmm.
just so many
Yeah.
brilliant artists on the show showcasing variations on queer Black culture that I am just super happy to see in the mainstream. And then there's also some mess. Because if you're talking about, queer people, then there's usually some mess, not too far behind. But there, I guess I just have there's a line for me sometimes and I don't like lying and manipulation in certain contexts. And Mistress and Georges have been up to absolute nonsense on this current season of RuPaul's All-Star Drag Race. And it's just a bunch of mean girl stuff. And I just really didn't like it. I really, really didn't like it because, and I didn't like it when Mistress was on the receiving end of a lot of it during her season online when people were being so ungenerous and it was almost entirely directed around her appearance and her weight. And I thought none of it was useful. And then I remembered kind of what she was like on the show and that a lot of what she had attracted that negative attention was because she's a mean old woman and I kind of want her to cool it because I like her. I think she's an excellent drag queen and she if she's going to win this thing then she should win it without all of that. Like I thought the manipulation was just not wasn't entertaining. If I wanted to watch a bunch of people being rude to each other, I would have stayed at my old job. Like I don't really need I don't need this in my evenings when I'm supposed to be unwinding, with a glass of Gewürztraminer. Like I just want my night to be nice and easy. And I will say I have enjoyed this current crop of girls a little bit more, but I wasn't into it. And I don't know, maybe it's because we look so similar, but like when they were being so mean to Carrie Colby, like I actively felt like because I find myself like really giving people the benefit of the doubt
No,
a
Dr.
lot.
Lee, I love you.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Continue,
Okay.
continue,
I thought you're about
continue.
to bring in some of that homosexual mess we were just talking about a few minutes ago.
I'm gonna hold my tongue.
All right, thank you. Because we are in Pride Month. I don't I don't know. I just that's not the part of Drag Race that I love. And I don't mind when they're like catty with each other and it feels like it's all in good fun, but when it felt like it was something else, especially because Georges was going to be one of the top three anyway,
Hmm.
right? Like it was just very clear. Rue loves her and she's had a hell of a glow up. I don't need it. And Rue, I know you're listening. Like we don't need that part. So you can leave that on the editing room floor. You can give us that in Untucked, which I don't watch. You can do some of that somewhere else. I don't want it on the show. I don't need it. So yeah. Everybody write into Rue and tell her.
Well, if we're talking to Rue, at this moment, um, Mr. Charles, as you said, Georges was going to end up in the top three. I'm sure Mistress was going to end up in the top three
In all
somehow.
likelihood,
Obviously,
yeah.
it seems as though Ginger is going to win the whole thing. Um, what my issue is with the season, and I feel like it's much more blatant than it's been in seasons past, like just get the person you want to a crown.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through all this rigmarole. We don't have to go through weeks and weeks and weeks of challenges and being upset because
Mhm.
obviously this person, I'm sorry, Denali, justice for Denali.
Uh, Denali who? Denali is not giving.
Denali won that lip sync.
Denali did not win that lip sync. Denali was also not in the top two. Um, Rocket K. Jones, please stop playing with my emotions. Denali, no, absolutely not. I'm on my way to Minnesota.
Oh my goodness.
No, I no, I'm not going there with you. I agree with you about Rue continuing to stage these pretend competitions
Yes.
because she could have just said last year to Alyssa Edwards,
Here
at
you
some point,
go.
I fucked up and I should have handed you a crown a long time ago because you are the icon you are. We don't need to do all of this show for that. I am
Yes.
in agreement about that. I'm going nowhere with you on this Denali train, though. No, ma'am. No, nope. Didn't like the outfit. Didn't like.
Well, the outfit and the wig were not.
Thank you.
I will absolutely
Yeah,
give you that.
there we go. There we go. Kristen Chenoweth is somewhere spinning in her grave over that whole Wicked ensemble. I just was not, no.
Well, all of them were not great.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah,
None
yeah.
of them were really seamstresses in that moment.
No, none of them were. And
But I
except for
get,
Betty. I
oh no,
mean,
yeah, hers was fine.
but she did wrap that skirt around like she was wrapping a towel around her waist coming out of the shower.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. Agreed.
But I'm just my point is just that like if you want to give Ginger Minj a crown, that's fine. Just give her the crown though. Like and there as a video editor myself, I'm sure we could figure out a way if you want to have this whole show where we're spending millions of dollars on this production.
Millions.
You could at least edit it in a way that it doesn't feel quite so obvious. I'm sure you have the footage, but it's just a suggestion from me to you, RuPaul, and also your TikToks are crazy. And somebody on your team needs to let you know. But I say that with love.
But while we're talking about reality television, can I just ask this question? Because Damien and I were talking about this a few nights ago. We were watching Top Chef All Stars, and it was a couple of All Stars ago, I think, because it was one of the mini seasons where Brian Voltaggio was like in the top two and didn't win.
Hmm.
How many times can somebody be on a reality show before it feels like they just have a stupidly unfair advantage? Because I love Ginger. I think Ginger is incredibly talented. But also, if it's your third or fourth time on the show and somebody else was on one season for three episodes, that is not, that's not the, I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know what to do with those moments.
'Cause I feel like you see like it makes me think of like The Traitors the first season where you had half just normal regular people who'd never been on TV before and half reality TV vets. And of course the vets just stomped all over
Oh,
the
absolutely.
normies and like God bless Sari Fields, pure black joy. Um, but she took two normies with her to the end and just like manipulated the fuck out of them. Because she knows how this works, because she's been on 80,000 seasons of Survivor and Big
hmm
Brother and now The Traitors. And so she knows like the rhythm. She knows, I'm sure, like everyone who's on production, they love her. Like she just knows how to play these games. And yeah, it was as masterful a job as she did to win that game. Nobody suspected her as the traitor like from the beginning because she was chosen on day one to the end, those two folks were sitting there going like, "Oh my God, what? But you're our friend!" And she was just like, "I'm sorry I had to get this schmutty. Like,
Yeah.
I Yeah, no, to your point though, I think it does it's a very unfair advantage. And I think it's just, ultimately it's just kind of fan service because like
Mhm.
people want to see Brian Voltaggio cook because it looks like the food that he makes is very delicious, I guess, or they want to see
It's certainly
Cerie.
pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty and he's very pretty. And well, I mean, not as pretty as his brother, but
Oh my God, what is happening on this podcast today? It's like our taste is over here and over here.
Well, we're allowed to be different
Lee looks
people, Lee.
offended.
I'm I'm so offended because Michael Voltaggio, like he terrifies me every time I see him. Um,
Well,
I actively get afraid.
he's a little the tattoos in 2025 are a little bit much, but like 2010 Michael Voltaggio, come
I have to look up what this man looks
on.
Yeah,
like.
Okay.
please do. And everybody at home who is as confused as I am, let's all get online and look it up and be offended and write to Rocky this week.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna stop
Yeah, I'm
talking
not seeing it for
because
him. I'm not seeing it.
apparently my opinions are not valued here in this space.
I'm looking at this man. Is it a personality thing? Maybe.
It
Maybe.
definitely ain't that.
He's certainly the
Maybe.
better chef.
Yeah,
Okay. Some
I'll
some
give
people
him
have
that.
a swagger that could do it, but he looks pretty average. Maybe it's just it's the
Well, no, I'm not saying that
tattoos.
he's like, the be all end all trying to. I'm just saying of the two Voltaggio brothers. That's
I
all
think
I'm
on this one, I'm with the Voltaggio sister. That would be my choice of three.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I think perhaps we should get on to our main course. This was a delicious little appetizer.
Mm.
But y'all uh made me watch a fiction movie that was also a horror movie. And
Yep.
spoiler alert, I enjoyed it.
Hey.
So we'll
Yay.
be right back with our thoughts on the wonderful Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan vampire extravaganza Sinners when we come back right after this. And we are back. Sinners. My goodness. But I think before we
Hmm.
start the conversation, for all the scorekeepers out there, we are going to talk about spoilers. So if you are waiting for the movie to come out on HBO Max, which I believe is happening in a few weeks, or you just don't want spoilers because you haven't seen it yet, maybe pause, go watch the movie, and come back to this conversation because we don't want anyone to get mad at us. But yeah, what a lovely film.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So lovely. Just it's lovely. It's horrifying. It's
Yes.
it's timely yet like timeless also, and the time travel,
Mhm.
and again Ryan Coogler. I,
Sing that
j-
man's praises.
what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive and have witness his brilliance. I just want to say thank
Yeah.
you, Ryan Coogler, if you're ever listening, if you're on your team and you know him. Thank you, because from Fruitvale Station onward, it's just hit after hit after hit. You are brilliant at what you do.
I
Wow, an
mean,
incredible storyteller. Yeah.
absolutely, and it just really was. Um, I wish I had now, having seen it, I wish I had had the theatrical experience because I
Mhm.
imagine, in IMAX, it would have been even sort of more breathtaking. But what a just a staggering achievement, just technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, just the world building. Um, that like it always amazes me, like, when we're talking about like period films, when a filmmaker is able to sort of drop you into this world and it doesn't feel like it's a sound stage, it feels like you're actually in that time. And what he was able to achieve, just just technically, just the way the film looks and the way the film feels
Mhm.
was just staggering. And it was in a way that, like, I think few filmmakers are really able to achieve because sometimes, you're watching something and it's like, okay, this is cool, like whatever, but like, that's Leonardo DiCaprio and you're still sort of like in 2025 brain, kind of suspending your disbelief. But like it really felt like you were there in this world, that this was happening, that these were real people, that this was it like you could feel just the love and the care that was taken into it, the amount of just work and artistry and research that went into it all. Just it, it, I would just on a just the technical aspects of the film, I was just kind of staggered.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like the amount of emotional resonance
Hmm.
that he managed
Mhm.
to draw out. I've seen all of his films except for the Creed series, and I
Hmm.
can at a different point I'll talk about why I don't like boxing, but that's another story for another day. But one of the things that I really love about him is that because I feel like there's some filmmakers who fall into this category of like they make beautiful pictures. And then I feel like there's some filmmakers who fall into categories around they have this incredible capacity to move you emotionally or shift how you understand a concept or a moment. And I think Coogler does both at once every time. And it hadn't, I mean, the fact that he could do it with Fruitvale, both Black Panthers and Sinners in the same way, as vastly different as those genres are. I think it's absolutely staggering, and I also really appreciate. I'm a very big Michael B. Jordan fan. Nobody gets the level of performance out of that man that Ryan Coogler does, right? And Michael B. Jordan is enjoyable in everything, but I feel like in this and Fruitvale and Black Panther, the first one,
Hmm.
he had like actually transcendent moments. Like there's almost never a week that goes by that I don't think about that last monologue that he has in Black Panther about
Hmm.
wanting to be buried with the ancestors. And I had so many of those just great moments in this where he just captured the beauty of people on screen. I was about to say black people, but he actually did a really fantastic job with the two Asian American co-stars as well, just like really capturing pictures that were evocative, moments that were thoughtful. And I felt like every single moment of it was earned. There wasn't anything that I
Hmm.
felt like was cheap or silly
Mhm.
or emotional manipulation. Like he was telling a story that, despite being about vampires, felt really resonant with
Hmm.
how, well, what it is for me as a black person to think about how we engage with non-black people in various contexts. Like it was really, really powerful in thinking about like moments of community solidarity and then moments of feeling like, but you're actually not a part of this at this moment, right? Like there
Hmm.
was just a lot. There was a lot there. And I watch a lot of vampire movies, but this is one of the few that like I kept thinking about like what it meant because it wasn't just about biting necks. Like this was something that was so much more about, for me, what does it mean? What does sort of a transracial solidarity mean? What can it mean in this moment where we're in? And can we believe things that we see? And for me, this coming after, last November, where I felt
Mm,
like Black people were so let down by other groups of people who professed a desire to be in solidarity with us and then weren't, and then now we're saying, oh but like it was definitely, it just spoke to the moment in such a beautiful way. And it was still a great movie. If last November hadn't have happened, I still think it would have been every bit as evocative for me. So I loved it, and people better remember that at the Oscars next year. Like I'm not playing this time. Like y'all better remember this.
They better. I mean, across the board in every category. Like
hmm
I love how like so many different types of language were used through for the storytelling. Like there's like the lines and what people are doing and saying, but it's like you said, nothing felt like frivolous, nothing felt unintentional, or the um filmmakers who sometimes have the scenes that are clearly about their vanity and just like things that they
hmm
think are things that they think are cool or pretty or hot, or that makes it look like a badass film or whatever. Like there's I don't get the sense that there was anything like that. And that it was just so true to the storytelling and did that through the sound, through the music. To have a film that is
hmm
not a musical but uses music so centrally, like in the storytelling, was just I love it. I love it. Not just the use of the blues, but like the explaining where the blues comes from without having to explain it.
hmm
That scene with was it Smoke or was it Stack? The one in the red. The one in the red.
Stack.
I Stack. Okay. There okay, I could go down a whole nother rant about Michael B. Jordan making those two characters so distinct and
That's what I was gonna say.
each different one. How did you play two different people and have shining moments in each of them that just like make you see them as a whole person and endear you
Mhm.
towards them? And just I forgot that nigga was one man. I forgot.
I thought
I forgot.
it felt like two people, like two distinct
Yes.
people, and also just the technical aspect of that, of like the two of them interacting and the fight scenes, and just you could feel their brotherly twin bond. It felt and they were two very distinct people, and it was crazy. It was
It was
crazy what he was able to
wild.
achieve with that performance.
Yeah.
It's
But that
wild.
scene when Stack is in the car with Delroy Lindo's character,
Slim.
Slim, thank you.
Delta Slim.
Yes, Delta Slim and Sammy, and they pass that crew of people who are incarcerated doing work in the fields, and Delta Slim tells that story about his friend who was lynched by the Klan, and he just starts slapping his leg, like just
Mhm.
to get in, like
Mm.
humming and like rocking back and forth, just to move through the flashback and the trauma of that memory. And Stack is like, it says to Sammy, like, you got that guitar, boy, like pick it up, do
Mhm.
something. And I just, because I've seen my elders do a thing like that, or,
Yeah.
slap their knee or start rocking, or, when something painful is coming up. It was just so authentic. And I love that Delroy Lindo stuck with a thick Southern accent for Delta Slim.
Mhm.
Like, I
Mhm.
love that there were some moments where I wasn't sure what he was saying. I was like, this is authentic. I do not know if I've ever heard somebody looking and sounding like my granddaddy on screen. Like, I love that they stayed true to that. It just, oh, oh, it did something for me. Yeah.
I also the while we're talking about the cast, I thought the casting was so wonderful.
It really was.
And not just
Hmm.
because they were everybody was a very sophisticated creator of a character, but also like the ways that I think that it went against what our expectations would have been. I have been obsessed with Wonmi Mosaku for a minute. Every time I see her in something, she's giving a wildly different kind of a performance than everything else I've ever seen her, and she's like such a great actress. And I was so glad that she was the romantic lead because I felt like it was such a disruption of a lot of the women I feel like Michael B. Jordan has cast opposite, and they had fantastic chemistry. I loved her character. It was just it was so happy making to see her there and to really hope that this propels her into another stage of her career where she'll become a different kind of a household name because it was really, really good to see her in this. And also Saul Williams as well, just another person who I enjoy seeing in
Yes.
in things, period, popping up here. Haley Steinfeld, who I feel like is a much more serious actress, and every time I see her in something, like I am reminded of how good she is and always has been, despite the fact that she's quite young. And like I don't know how old she is, but I feel like she's always young looking and everything. And it was great. It was great to watch something and not feel like there was a weak link in terms of the acting at all across the board. Like super, super
Hmm.
well cast.
Well, and Miles Caton
Woo!
in his first role.
Right. Where
My
did he
God,
come?
where did he come
I
from?
looked him
I
up immediately after and like found on iTunes a bunch of music that he'd recorded like 10 years ago when he was a kid. He can sing his
hmm
little ass off.
Hmm.
Like he's very talented.
incredible. That voice, every time he opened his mouth to sing, like
Yeah.
just you had to you couldn't take your eyes off him. You couldn't focus on anything else. And what I heard, I forgot where I heard this. I think maybe in watching one of the interviews with actors. Um, he said that he, I think, performed with the R&B singer Her. Um, and she told him that he needed to audition for this role. Like, this is perfect for him. Like, she
Oh.
was like, you need to like branch out, do this. And I am so glad. Did you all stay watch through the end of the credits
Mm-hmm.
all the way through?
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
watch all the way through.
Yeah.
I saw
Mm-hmm.
the cut scene or the credit scene with the older
Uh-huh.
Buddy
Sammy.
guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then Amazon, I was watching it on Amazon Prime, and they were like, "Okay, movie's over," and I was
Oh
just like,
yeah, they do
"Okay,"
play
and
that
then I
little
went to
game.
go like
Yeah.
read something about it, and then they were like, "Oh, there's another scene," and I was like, "There was another one." So
Yep, at the very,
I
very tail end.
yeah, so I
Mhm.
missed that, but it was 2 o'clock in the morning by that point. I was. I'm sure Paige and Lee will tell me about it.
I want you
But
to go watch it yourself. I can't really tell you about
okay, all right.
it.
But what I will say about Miles's performance, the scene at the juke joint where he is performing and calling in all of the ancestors and the statement about just sort of artistry through time and the power that the griots have to bring the past, the present, and the future together. That is one of the most beautiful sequences ever set to film that
Agreed.
I think I have ever
Agreed.
seen in my entire life.
Absolutely agreed. It's
Like that
so good.
was incredible. Because, I was watching it, I was enjoying it, but it was like, like I said, I kind of wish I'd had the theatrical experience because I'm just sort of like, I have to pee. Oh, the cat is down here. I have to keep one eye on her. So she doesn't. Like, as soon as that sequence happened, I was just like, I'm locked in. I'm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Bladder be damned. Kitty be damned. That was incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
that sequence, I think, it's one of those things I'm just going to remember for a really, really long time because
Yeah.
obviously I'm a person who appreciates music being used in storytelling, uh, period. I'm also a person who actively does not like movie musicals. They're like
Hmm.
three that I like, and I hate every other one because I feel like it's really hard to do that on screen. It feels sledgehammer heavy every time, and this felt it was so it was both effortless and natural, but also surreal and but fundamental to the story. Like
Hmm.
it brought everything together and it kind of spoke to like a set of values that I've always wanted to believe more than I feel like I've experienced, where I believe that music really does have a should have a power to bring us together in a more fundamental way and to talk about the ways that our cultures and our experiences inform all of us and how we are all informed by each other's culture. Then I frequently feel like in reality that doesn't add up to anything, but that the way they made it happen in the movie, it felt so profound. It was beautiful
Hmm.
to watch.
Hmm.
It was also like sexy and clever and it was everything. Like it was everything that I wanted out of a musical sequence. And that for me was the part that made me then turn around and start telling everybody I knew, will you watch this? And then tell me what you think because I actually want to talk about it. Like
Hmm.
that I thought it was really I thought it was art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
there's so many just again the intentionality and like the layers of language being used and the voiceover that like Wumi Masaku does where we hear her voice talking about there are like people throughout time who've been said to be able to conjure the past and the future through music and knowing like a little bit of, African American history and folklore and the crossroads being really present throughout blues music and, lots of roads in this movie being shown through beautiful different beautiful shots from Ryan Coogler and knowing that also in African traditional like spirituality, like
Mhm.
the that we see represented in this film and that which has formed here after we, were stolen and brought here to Turtle Island, but also before pre-colonially that like the crossroads is this place of like possibility or things happening and literally representing choices and consequences but also the past and the future, so just having that present throughout in different ways. And I keep thinking about like even shots of roads in the movie
Mhm.
being
Hmm.
like this,
Mhm.
they kind of help are another thing that move us along or tell us that like the tension is building throughout till you get to this moment where like everything is colliding and the musical sequence is part of that, the where we see the ancestors and the future and everybody's ancestors. I really love that that was included, that the Asian folks in the room, their
Hmm.
ancestors were
Hmm.
there,
Mhm.
too. But then even also the song after that what's her name, Pearline
Oh,
Hmm.
sings,
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
way like the blues of that like builds and how it gets like funkier and nastier and like that's when
Mhm.
stuff is
Hmm.
going down
Mhm.
with Miss what's her name, Miss Mary, in her vampire
Hmm.
form,
Mhm.
and you are brought back to late, like I don't know if they literally showed it in that moment, but in thinking about it, I was brought back to what Sammy's father was saying in the church house about music, conjuring the devil or bringing bad things. And so again, you have like everything just building so beautifully without it feeling like the music part was forced or
Yeah.
corny or just like out of place or lazy. It was so intentional and just so part of how the film built throughout and like calls on our culture. So much of our culture is in our music and has been preserved that way. Ugh, ugh, I I just love this movie so much.
Even the way that they like paralleled when the white vampires had their little musical moment, like
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was great because it did like viscerally for me, like having spent too much of my life in the South, there's certain images and certain folk customs that just viscerally bring up like fear and discomfort.
Mm.
And they managed to like do that while at the same time, as I was listening with my musicological hat on, I could hear so many similarities between the black music and then what the white folks were doing. And even that was a little bit destabilizing. Like I just thought it was effective.
It was effective. Like, I mean, the song was very pretty and their harmonies were very pretty, but there was something so dark and menacing
So dark and menacing.
that like I was kind of crawling out of my skin because like there hadn't been anything too terribly gory that had happened yet up until
Mhm.
that moment. And I was just like, as soon as they're just like smiling and singing in the wild mountain time and like having gone to like a white private school in the South, I have heard Wild Mountain Time sung in three-part harmony more than once, and it never led to anything good. And I was just like, oh God, Haley, run. But it was also just sort of fascinating. I mean, and I know that, like, it's what I also liked about the movie is that it wasn't the metaphor, the vampire metaphor wasn't, subtle
No,
at
I
all
didn't agree.
at any point in any stretch of the imagination. And I just, and usually, like, sometimes you watch a movie where, like, sort of the point that they're making through metaphor is very sort of obvious and you're just kind of like, okay, what you do you think I'm stupid? Like I get it. We get it. But in this case it was just like, no, this is necessary and it makes all the sense in the world. Like you have this space that is expressly, literally they say this is for us and by us.
Mhm.
We are listening to blues music and eating catfish and drinking corn liquor and enjoying our time and our community together. And here comes this literal white vampire who wants to take the music and use it for his own ends. And I don't know, it made me feel angry. It made me feel really sad at the end that all these people had to die behind this selfish nonsense. Um, but it also made me just sort of kind of in awe that they're using that Ryan and the writers and everyone use the vampire metaphor because I actually I don't know what it was that made me sort of hesitant about this movie because I love vampire shit. I love, I think, Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula is one of the most beautiful movies.
It's a stunningly beautiful
It's
movie.
It is.
stunningly beautiful. And if you haven't seen that movie with Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman and Keanu Reeves, it
Mhm.
is the man himself. He has grown old. he has grown young.
Mhm.
Like Keanu Reeves doing a British accent is, if you haven't seen it,
It's
I
routine.
I can't even describe it. Um, but to use the vampire story in this way to tell this particular story and to make this particular point, which we've been trying to make over and over and over again throughout our history here in this nation, um, but to make it just so acutely and so specifically and just like, do you get it now?
Hmm.
Do you get
Hmm.
it now? I just appreciated it.
No,
Agree.
same,
I
same.
feel like my only, if I had a wish, if I had like one wish of something this film didn't give me,
Hmm.
was just a little bit more queerness. And
Oh,
not
getting
Yeah,
just
out
for
of
the
my
sake,
head. Yeah,
yeah.
not
yeah.
just for the sake of representation, but because Southern Black folks often be queer as hell.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
especially,
Mm-hmm.
especially the women, not
Yeah.
like
Uh,
fulfilling the traditional roles of women or in a patriarchal white society. Like Southern Black folks can be queer too,
hmm.
and and especially within like the safety of our communities, there's like more, a little bit more crossover and like and just like diversity than was represented. And the people in my life who are from Mississippi, families from Mississippi and are queer, that was their main thing as well. They were just like, I don't know, I think my my grandma was doing a little more gender bending than what we saw represented.
And
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
as much space. Like I feel like there's something inherently queer about vampirism, especially as it is
Oh,
frequently
100%.
presented, right? I mean, I survived every season of True Blood on account of that.
Same.
And I
Yeah,
also felt like that was a
basically.
little missing here, but I also feel like it's something that I mean, I haven't seen the Creeds, but I don't know if this is where it would be explored at any rate, but like that's something I feel like has been a little bit missing from his exploration as a director, writer, producer that I'm curious to see how he gets into because he's, done such a great job of exploring like a contemporary version of Black malehood on film in a really thoughtful and kind of fantastical way. And I'll be interested to see if he can move into that space as he continues creating movies because I felt like that was a little missing. If I also had one other small critique, I think I I love how Michael was able to create these two very distinctive individuals, but there's also like, and maybe it's because I grew up with, identical twins in my family. There was something around how those relationships cycle between like super closeness and super frustration with each other because you're so close and because it's somebody else who looks and sounds and thinks so similarly to you. There were nuances that I wouldn't have minded if they could have gotten a little bit more into, and I think you could see it a little bit in that final fight that
Hmm.
they were having
Mhm.
and in sort of the choice I'm going to let my brother live, which is of course the choice I think the twin would make. But I think there's a little bit more that I was hoping, or that just could have been explored in terms of what it means to have that kind of closeness to somebody else because you literally start as the same entity. And I do think there is something really spectacular about relationships between identical twins because of that similarity, that sort of that is becomes a drive to be an individual. And I think there could have been a little bit more with that, but it's a really minor thing from me. And I will never say too many bad things about my fellow Aquarian, Michael B, because I feel like, he's always on his box in every single thing. But I wouldn't have minded if we got another 10 minutes just so we could have gotten a little bit more into their relationship with each other.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be
That would be
interesting.
interesting. That connection. They did seem to like, I think especially as the film goes on, like just diverge even more. Where like I hear what you're saying, like twins are gonna go more
Hmm.
like this, and moments of diverging, and then like again you see the similarity, or just reminded that they were once one one being.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think, okay, because I have to say it somewhere because it bothered me when it happened in the film. There is one other
Ooh,
critique.
uh-oh.
When we first meet Annie in like her house, and she's clearly the neighborhood root lady, but also the chef, and she is making like some medicines for these kids mama, and tells them like what to do with it, and um what smoke comes through, and they have their moment which was I love so many things about that. But what I did not love is as she's like doing things with his mojo bag, and they're this is the spiritual spiritist and historian in me.
Mm.
And she said she uses a term that's specifically Yoruba, from Yoruba people of West Africa around Benin. She ends her prayer with saying Ashe. And while that's common now, like because of just migration and us having access to more information, and African traditional religion really like growing here in the United States, that's it's unlikely that even someone who was still connected to like traditional spirituality, it's unlikely that they would have said that. And that's just because actually among African Americans, we are not primarily Yoruba. We come from our ethnic background, it comes from largely from a lot of other groups. The Yoruba were some of the last people to be um, stolen in large groups, like towards the end of the slave trade. So more of them went to Caribbean islands and to Brazil. That's actually where Brazil is where the most end up. But we have a lot of like Congo ancestry, a lot of ancestry from Mali, from the Gold Coast, around like Ghana,
Senegambia.
and yes, and Gambia. Uh, yeah, those areas. Igbo ancestry, which is I know right next to the Yoruba, but their empires and things like that like fell sooner. And so we were brought in larger groups from those ethnic groups. It's just unlikely. It is quite unlikely that someone would have said Ashe. Uh, and I feel like maybe that was influenced by, again, us in 2025
Hmm.
now. Yoruba
Hmm.
spirituality has really made it, has had it has had its shine. Beyonce portraying Oshun, and Kaylani, and SZA and Solange, and different people openly expressing their connection to this faith that is my faith too. Shoot, I am an initiate. I ain't talking down on it. I am part of the I am part of the wave. So but I also know like more about our history. And if you want to read further, if anyone's a nerd like me, I highly recommend the book Exchanging Our Country Marks by Michael Gomez. It really really gets into like our ethnic mix as African Americans. um, so yeah, but Wumi Masaku is Yoruba. So I was also wondering how much her specific
Hmm.
ancestry influenced that moment and how she viewed the role. Because even in an interview, she said that like hoodoo is like derived from Ifa. Not true. Not true. There's maybe like a little bit of those kind of traditions in hoodoo, but the spirituality again that like we established or created here is mostly from the places where we are from, and that's more so Congo, more so Senegambia, more so other places. So that kind of bothered me a little bit, but it's the kind of thing that so few people would catch or would know. I've kept it quiet. I've stayed quiet on it for a minute. So thank you for letting me rant.
Well, of
No,
course.
thank you
And
for
Yeah.
edifying
no, thank you
edifying
for letting us
about
know.
it.
And I will also just sort of shamelessly say that if you would like to know a little bit more of Paige's thoughts about cultures and traditions across the African diaspora throughout history, might I suggest you check out our other podcast, Art Class, and specifically the
Uh-huh.
ones with the Kinfolk segment hosted
Hmm.
by Paige, where they uh, edify us even further about musical and cultural traditions and religious traditions in this way, because I find your work fascinating on this subject.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you, friend.
Yes. That's why we let you do it for 12 weeks. Because we like listening to it.
Thanks for letting me cook. I appreciate it.
Of
I
course,
really
of
do.
course.
I also just want to toss out they 5 years ago when Lovecraft Country was on HBO, One Me was also on in the cast of that, and there were a lot of very similar themes. The lead of that is not somebody who I'm in the moment speaking to or of, but I
Well,
still think that there
yeah.
was a lot a lot of very fascinating takeaways from that show that are on the same kind of themes, and I felt like it got canceled before there was great resolution. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because it was another instance of this kind of like Southern Gothic horror around racism. There were also threads around like Black and Asian relationships, and also a whole lot about sort of time, not just time travel, which was a part of that show, but also just like the timeline, how that is shapes identity, and sort of what that means for different demographic categories of Black folks. And I hope this is an area that we can continue to explore because I think not just fiction, but this space of fiction where we're able to occupy fantasy and or science fiction allows us to talk about things in a way that I think more people can have a takeaway because it's not so I guess like baldly political and
Hmm.
instead gives people a different emotional point of access to the kind of horrors that racism and legacies of racism have us living with. Like I am not a person who has a lot of nightmares, but almost all of them are either about like some instance of racism or, anti-queer activity that frequently happens like either in the workplace or just in social interactions. These are the things that I think haunt a lot of us. These are the reasons that
Hmm.
we have some of the medical challenges we have and why our lifespans are different and shorter in a lot of instances. And I'm really grateful for the popularity of pieces like this because I feel like it's giving us an opportunity to change the narrative and the overall conversation about these are the real dangers of discriminatory practices and behaviors in our country.
Amen to that.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
maybe Ashe, but only if you
And
know
yes.
what you mean.
Well, I think that that is a good place to leave us because I think that's sort of the note that I
Mhm.
would, yeah, that I think we should go out on and just sort of thinking about that. Um, but everyone go watch Sinners. I highly recommend it, especially to those of you who don't like fiction. Or horror movies. It's not that scary. There was only one scene where I had to watch it through my fingers. But a great movie, and I do hope come Oscar time, it is richly rewarded because it absolutely deserves it. And Ryan, Michael, Wumi, Miles, Haley, all y'all all did that. Delroy Mr. Lindo, excuse me. Y'all, y'all all did that. So
Mhm.
many, many congratulations. Um, but I think I'm ready for a little bit more pure black joy. What do y'all think?
Let's do it.
Ready,
Let's do
absolutely.
it. We'll be right back. And we are back, and it is time for our favorite segment of the show. It's time for Pure Black Joy. And this is where we talk about the Black people, places, music, food, art, culture that's making us happy this week, minus sinners. That's the blackest and most joyful thing that I experienced this week. But y'all feel free to jump in with yours.
Sure, I'll jump on in. So my pure black joy is kind of a two in one because there are two films. Two films about one of the most iconic trailblazing musicians um, within American music or just music in general, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who was a vocalist, a guitarist, one who is set the stage for just American like rock music to become what it is. But music from actually rock music everywhere. Rock music everywhere. She set a stage for it to be what it is. There are so many people who are influenced by her, and there are two different films coming out. So there is one that folks may have heard about that Lizzo apparently is going to star in. It is being produced by Amazon MGM Studios. I think it's just called Rosetta. And yeah, we will see. We will see. I don't
We
know if
will
I've seen
see.
Lizzo in an acting. Act, have I seen her acting in
I don't
something?
think I don't think I ever have,
I
but
definitely have that.
Huh. Okay. Okay. Well, it's in development. And then the other one um, is from Live Nation Productions and has Anjanou Ellis Taylor.
Yes.
Yes, set to write the screenplay. Mick Jagger's producing, and that one's going to draw from the definitive biography of Sister Rosetta Tharpe. They have exclusive rights to Shout Sister Shout, the untold story of rock and roll trailblazer Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And I have heard that this one will for sure like get into her queerness, her relationships. So I know we'll get that at least one of them.
Thank
I'm
goodness.
very, very excited. Yeah. They have got to. They have got to. And I just appreciate these coming out because
Yeah.
she, like I said, has influenced everyone from the white folks to the black folks. Like there are people who went on to be superstars later who were influenced by seeing a Sister Rosetta Tharpe performance when they
hmm
were younger, and then they go on to be the Rolling Stones or to be Johnny Cash or to be Eric Clapton, any of those people known for their vocals, their songwriting, their guitar playing. She was a
Sister Rosetta played that guitar, didn't she?
hmm
show did. She made it talk, okay? She made it talk. So I'm happy that we she can get that recognition and just on the big screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I can't wait to see that. I will add it to the wonderful things about Black people I have been watching. My pure Black joy is I saw a wonderful off-Broadway play this past week. I went to the opening. It is produced by a colleague of mine, Laura Ivy, and the play is called Duke and Roya. And it's written by Charles Randolph Wright and directed by Warren Adams. And it's about a rapper who falls in love with an Afghani interpreter right after the conflict in Kabul. And despite how unlikely a setup this sounds, like it was such an interesting uh, musing on sort of how Black Americans at times participate in xenophobia. And
Hmm.
it was very interesting to see this piece where the white savior was actually a Black male rapper, and for this also to come from, the minds of a group of Black creatives. It stars Jay Ellis, Stephanie Nur, and one of my all-time favorite actresses, Noma Domez-Waney, and they were all lovely because I knew the producer, I got to go to the VIP.
Oh,
And
okay.
the other producers, Kerry Washington, John Legend, Naturi Naughton, they're really, really pretty in person. And I feel like I just should say that.
Dang.
But it was such a good play. Please support off-Broadway theater. Please support Black creatives. And also, please support these pieces that are forcing some conversations about things that I feel like as a community we don't always talk about. So I just
Yeah.
really, 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 really loved it. And it was kind of great to see my second favorite character from Insecure in person and playing a character who is differently frustrating this time around. So,
Well, that sounds amazing. Yes, go support Black creatives. Words of
yes.
wisdom right there.
Yeah, there we go.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of The Score. As always, please leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed the show. Hit that subscribe button, and of course, tell all of your friends about us. A little bit of news. Um, as I mentioned earlier, we did a show last year for 12 weeks called art class for Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. And we're very proud of the work that we did. We worked very, very hard on it. We had some extremely edifying and lovely conversations with a whole bunch of really cool people. Uh, Stephanie Dinkins, Hilton Alls, Big Frida. You may have heard of Big Frida, Bob the Drag Queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. And since that has been living on a different podcast thread, perhaps y'all who are Score fans haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. So all summer, on our off weeks when we're not doing the Score, we'll be releasing episodes of Art Class so that you can enjoy and hear what we got up to over on that channel. The first one will release next Friday with Minneapolis poet laureate and generally awesome, lovely, intelligent, funny, kind person, Janata Petrus. So please check that out. And I think that's it for now. Next score episode, we'll be diving into episode 4 of season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race, possibly episode 5 as well. We'll see how we
Mhm.
feel.
Possibly part one of four, knowing how we've been doing.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, we do like to talk about Drag Race. But until then, any more words of wisdom?
Yeah, stay hydrated, right? Like this
Yes.
Oh,
this weather
yes.
has been wild.
Yes. Drink your water. Absolutely. And Ryan Coogler, if you ever do decide to make that queer movie starring Michael B. Jordan, call
And
me.
me. Beep, beep, beep.
If you need some film consultants, we
Oh no, honey, I'm auditioning for the role.
Well, you better eat your Wheaties because I am not going to make it easy.
Okay, okay. I have been eating my Wheaties,
Oh, look
okay.
at you.
Ooh.
All right, but until that day, I suppose we can stay friends. All right. Until next time, everybody. Bye, America. Bye. South Korea, was it?
South Korea, bye. Till next
I
time.
got sold, but I'm not a soldier.